So I grew up not going to church, never really heard the gospel at that point in time. So I had no idea really who Jesus was.
I didn't go to church at all growing up. I mean, maybe for like a year. We went, my dad and my stepmom and I went for a little bit, but that was about it. So I had no background at all. We first met in January of 99. We met in a bar on my 21st birthday, and that was how our relationship kind of kicked off.
Right.
But officially really started dating in October of 99. And then we were married in June of 2001. A few months later, found out we were pregnant,
And off we went.
off we went with the family.
Yeah, and here we are.
Ella is our oldest. She was born in October of 2002. She's 16 now. Ava then came along 18 months later. She was born in May of 2004. And we thought that would be good, and then decided to have one more to round out our family, and we got Lila. She was born in March of 2008.
Yeah. It was a struggle, honestly. I mean, it was, she was going one way, I was going another most of the time. Never really formally said divorce to each other, but it was pretty much
hanging in the
implied.
air. Yeah. Around the same time also, I had been having this feeling of that we should try to find a church.
We had visited a few churches around, and man, when we walked in the doors and how we were greeted, the feel of the church, the people in the church was not pretentious. It was so welcoming, and it was like they wanted to just take care of us and allow us to worship or try and figure out, who Jesus is, and it was awesome.
Shortly after that, I made an appointment to go in and talk with Pastor Rick. I remember him saying, if you were to go to heaven today, what would you say? And I remember saying that I would probably say I tried to turn things around. And so I know I still was in a process, at that time. But then it was shortly after that summer of 2009, where it just all clicked and came together, and I got it and prayed to receive Jesus.
I made an appointment with Rick, and in typical redemption style, we met for a beer. And I always say it's the best beer of my life, because in Ray's we sat and talked. That's where I prayed and received the Lord at that point. I think we first told my mom and dad, and which my mom is a little bit more, or was a little bit more receptive to those things than my dad.
His dad kind of looked around like, what is this church?
Yeah.
But the first time they came, they played Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
And I can remember looking over at Joe's dad thinking, this is getting him.
They both gave their lives to the Lord, and I think we were baptized the first year, and then I think was another session went by, and then they were baptized. And just to sit there and hear my mom and dad give their testimonies of what the Lord's done in their life, and then be baptized, it was cool. It was really cool. They had some really good people in their lives come alongside them and to help them process. My dad's CLC brothers were invaluable to him. My mom was always a strong person. It was, I grew up and, your dad was a sergeant major in the Army. Yeah, he was. My mom was the disciplinarian, though. she was the tough nugget, and to watch her soften over the years, and make the friendships that she had with some of these ladies in the church that came alongside her when she was young in her faith, and just
Barb was diagnosed with brain cancer in May of 2017.
Right.
And she had a lot of ups and downs. Great news of, the tumor being gone, to devastating news the next checkup that the tumor was back and had spread. So it was a real roller coaster of emotion. But the whole time, from the time she was diagnosed in May to when she passed, the day after Christmas, it was December of 2017, her faith was amazing. And it was an example to so many people of, she knew that God was going to use what she was going through for good, that something good was going to come out of this, and that she was willing to do it all over again, if she had to, because she knew he would use it somehow. It was right around the time that she passed that Joe's sister was coming to church as well. She's coming with us, just wanting to be all of us together. We just all had that need to be together. But as she then was there hearing the sermons and hearing the preaching at Redemption, things started, working in her.
When we moved into the new building, we had a marking of the foundation ceremony there, and it was an opportunity for us as a congregation, as a family, to write down some names on the concrete floor before they finished the building of people that we wanted to see come to know the Lord through Redemption Chapel, and we wrote her name, Jennifer's name on the floor. And when my mom died, it was, we had the funeral, and she was listening to all these people talk about my mom, who she was, her faith, how she helped this person, the kind of person she was in the church, and how much she loved Jesus, and just other people telling her this kind of was just validating kind of my mom's faith to her, to my sister. We're working the welcome centers on a Sunday, and
we see Jared fly out of the big room.
Right, Jared comes flying out of the big room, and he's making a beeline like right towards me. I got your sister in the back of the church. You guys need to come into the back of the big room. That week was the week that she prayed right in the back of the church, probably 25 feet from the spot where we wrote her name on the foundation.
Our redemption story, just the dramatic change in our lives, in our marriage, in our parenting, in our relationships with the kids.
Right.
I mean, it's just such a huge turnaround from where we were at when we walked into the front doors, 10 years ago. I mean, just where we were at as a couple and as a family. I mean, it's just overwhelming to think of how much has changed and how different things could have been if we hadn't been led there at that time.
We are Joe and Lindsay Carter, and this is our redemption story.